Now what we're going to do is it's going to be your time to work at your tables, to think through what we've gone over and see how you can build a better reflective process through the 5 stages. So I'm going to ask you on your paper, you're going to have to clear it up. You're going to make 4 boxes. You just divide it into 4 quadrants. I'd like you to divide it in so it looks like this. You don't have to write all the words.
There's easel paper on the middle of the table.
And there's easel paper. So one box you write the word investigation. One box you write preparation. And the words are over there also right by Donna. She can be Vanna White and Point. Excellent. One box is action and one box is demonstration. We're not going to have a box for reflection as its own component. What we want to focus on here is how do you weave reflection into the different stages of service learning. So if you're doing some investigation of a topic, of an issue, how would reflection be helpful there? And also we want to look at this as a continuum. This is what was raised earlier, the issue of time. How do you time this in your process? So you have one box for investigation, one for preparation, action, and demonstration. Now here's another way to look at this. You could imagine taking one person's service learning example. So for example, if we're doing you're doing some work on hunger in your class, or maybe you're doing a history class, or you're tying it to science, you're tying it to a multidisciplinary approach. You're helping the kids understand hunger, and they're investigating it, and they're preparing to take some meaningful action. And you could take Earth Day or any other kind of topic, you don't have to take hunger. How would you really draw out reflection as part of the investigation? How would you make sure students do it as part of preparation? Even in action, right in the moment of delivering some kind of interaction with people, would it be appropriate to pause and do what kind of reflection? Or in demonstration? So I want you to stop and really think through that process. And this was something we talked about as a group. And you even have a document in your materials that looks like this. It has the 4 boxes. It's on the back page. It's the back page right there. Reflection through the stages. So I want to give you about a good 10-12 minutes to think this through. If you need more time, we can extend it. To think of how you can take the ideas we've been talking about, the very methods, the approaches you heard from the beginning, ways to really help. I'm going to give you one more slide to make it a little more, stretch your thinking a little bit more, just a little bit. Is that sometimes reflection is meant to be informative. So for example, maybe in one of the stages, that's when you pull in an informative experience. And informative helps us add to the knowledge we're doing and think about the knowledge, whereas generative helps us kind of rethink how things are put together. And transformative may be more internal, what goes on inside of us, to help transform the experience, the context, or our own self. So that's kind of really up in it there. But I want you to take some time with your colleagues, and on that paper, see if you can come up with ways how you would move reflection through the service learning process. Are there any questions?
Process.
How are you feeling right now? What kind of emotions are you scared?
What was this process like? What did you learn from doing this? What did you learn by doing this with your colleagues? What did you learn from doing this experience? Yeah.
We come at it from different angles because we have a different frame of reference in the classroom.
Right, and that's so important because reflection is not one thing. It's so many different possibilities. You know, there's if you're in a very high-end academic class in the junior senior year, it's a different style of reflection altogether. Sometimes that's required in that course than the kind of reflection we're talking about. There's so many ways to think about reflection. Any other? Yes, please.
I think we need to selectively reflect. I don't think we should be like over-reflecting. We should take those pivotal, those learning, whatever you call aha, which I don't like that term, but those moments instead like, okay, we're just build reflection. Sometimes it's not going to be built into the prep process. Sometimes it's going to pass that up. I think you need to pick and choose. We're all up against time constraints. The kids having time constraints, well, enjoying service learning, they also enjoy doing the service. So you have a time, does anybody else have a time constraint on their hands with the kids to talk with them too? So it's just like picking out what's the most important pieces of the process along the way, maybe to talking about rather than everything.
And I was actually doing a workshop in Asia once, and one woman said, I don't have time to reflect on my class. And I empathize, I sympathize, I really get it. So I asked this question, and I said, how many minutes could you commit to in reflecting in every class? In elementary school, it's a little different because you have a different flow. But like in a discrete math, science, social studies class, how many minutes per class would you say I can actually commit to that? And what do you think was the lowest number that someone told me? 1 minute. So then we spent 5 minutes coming up with meaningful 1-minute reflection processes. And we did. And it was so cool. Because people came up.
What are they?
All right, in 1 minute at your table, come up with 3 different 1-minute strategies. You have 1 minute, go. 1 minute service reflection strategies at your table. I'm timing it. 1 minute, come up with stuff, and then I'll tell you my favorite. All right, that was your minute. So, here's what I'm going to suggest. Is when you send Donna the ideas for reflection, put in your 1-minute strategies, we'll make a big list. I'm going to share 2 of them. One is what I just shared here is have kids make a headline that shares both a thought and a feeling. Like come up with a headline that shares a thought and a feeling from an experience they had. Headlines are short and quick. Some of you may have thought of that already. Headlines are great. I love headlines. But this is one of my favorite reflective methods, and it takes under a minute, but I'm going to have you do it. It's going to require you to actually play pretend with me. Will you play pretend? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to pretend we went 4 times to a convalescent facility to interact with elder people, and we just had our last visit today, and the bus is going to be here in a minute. We have no time to actually do more than, I can't even get out paper. I can't even have you write something on a Post-it to stick somewhere. So I have less than a minute, and I say, okay, could everybody show me? So you're going to have to pretend you went 4 times to the convalescent facility to interact with elders, because it connected with our history class or something we were learning about oral histories. So I say, okay, I'd like you to show me by the expression on your face how you felt the first time I told you we're going to have visits with elderly people in a nursing home. Show me how you felt when we walked in and all those smells hit you. Show me how you felt on that first day where your partner held your hand and said, please don't leave. Show me how you felt today when they threw you a party and you didn't expect it. Okay, now how many of you felt something? And you never left your chair. So there you go. Imagine if you'd been there, done that, and a teacher takes you through a kinesthetic memory walk and then has you write something. Would that change what happens? So the kinesthetic experience can happen in less than a minute, and then you could actually just kind of do something. Oh, and one other way. I think we have to be sneaky. I'm all good with sneaky. And I think you have to be sneaky in a really cool way, because what we really want kids to do are those things I asked you first off. Now, they can't drive yet and they can't drink yet. Okay, for reflection. No wine or beer. But you could say at the end of a class, oh my gosh, we've done so much in class, it's Friday, I'm done, I can't do any more. And what I like to do is I like to have a cup of coffee when I sit and think about my day and really reflect on it. So come with me and have a surprise tea set up in the cafeteria for them to have tea and talk. Just to sit and have tea. We want them to become reflective by choice. If I'm a person who likes to sit quietly and reflect in a chair in the evening, I might say to my students, you know, in the evening I like to go home, and after dinner and all those things I do, before I go to bed I just have a chair, I sit in, no TV, no cell phone, no music, I just sit for a few minutes before I go wash up and go to bed. I'm not going to tell you how long I do it for, but I do it almost every night. So is there anybody in the room, I'm asking you this, is there anybody who would be willing to try that tonight for any amount of time? Anybody be willing to try it? Okay. How long would you do it for?
I would say 10 minutes.
Okay. How long would you do it for?
Probably 10, 15.
How long would you do it for?
Till I fell asleep. I'm saying I would be sitting there probably on my phone.
So sometimes you get a 2-minute, a 3-minute, a 1 minute, 4 minutes. All
As
this
long
I
as
say.
it takes.
Right. So everybody's got a different answer. So everybody do it for the amount of time you said. Just the people who said they would do it. And tomorrow, do not tell me you did it when you come into class. Just walk past me and nod. What's everybody going to be looking for? And then they say, you really did it? How long did you? And everyone else is going to want, who wants to talk about it? I didn't bring it up. Who's going to talk about it? All the kids. And then I say, okay, who wants to try it tonight? And you got 5 more hands that go up. So what we want to do is introduce them to ways to be reflective by choice in a way that makes sense to them, that is part of their life.